Sporting Communities are a community interest company. We're an ethical, non-for-profit organisation which services range from sports coaching, youth work, mentors and family support. We're a training academy delivering a range of qualifications, and we also have art and play services. Over the next coming weeks, Sporting Communities will be delivering health, fitness and wellbeing podcasts covering all relevant topics. So welcome to another fitness and wellbeing podcast. My name's Ed. I'm today joined again by Mike and Shaq. So today's podcast, we're going to cover the recent update from Boris Johnson, implying that any gyms or leisure centres will be a July the 4th minimum reopening. With also news of it may be in August, September time. Also news that personal trainers are now allowed to PT one-to-one as long as they stick to social distancing, the 2 metre measures outdoors. We're going to cover SMART goals, how to set yourself some goals and some key tips in doing that. We're going to talk about what age is safe and what age kids should start going to the gym or lifting weights. And then we're going to finish talking about the update in the football leagues, talking what the Premier League we think they should do, Championship, both not been announced yet. So yeah, let's do some quick introductions and then we'll get started. Like I've said, my name's Ed. I work for Sporting Communities. I'm the Derbyshire Development Officer. I also do some of the sports coaching sessions for them. I'm all about health and fitness, love going to the gym, being fit and active. I play football, play badminton, also coach badminton. I like spending time with family and friends, taking my dog on walks and chilling out when I can, really. That's me. Mike, over to you.
Yeah, cheers, Ed. So hi guys, my name's Mike from Sporting Communities. I'm also a personal trainer, and my hobbies and interests are living a healthy lifestyle, working out, training as much as I can. My interests are probably mountain bike riding, reading, just going on general walks and stuff like that.
Cool, cheers for that, Mike. Over to you, Shaq.
So guys, I'm Shaq, also a qualified PT, also a coach at Sporting Communities. My hobbies are football, many other sports, but predominantly being football. And I enjoy obviously spending time with family and friends, enjoy doing a bit of reading. Obviously like Mike as well, I enjoy doing a bit of bike riding and just enjoying being generally healthy and obviously a healthy lifestyle leading that.
Cool, cheers for that, Shaq. So like we said, we're all personal trainers. So if you're listening to the podcast and you want us to talk about something that you've got a keen interest in and you're not quite sure about, drop it in the comment section, or throughout the week, Mark and Shaq are online on our Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger. So feel free to come online, have an instant chat with them, ask them anything you want, and I'm sure they can answer it. So I previously said what we're going to talk about. So we're going on to the first topic, which is how we are finding lockdown and the news that the gyms potentially may be opening from July the 4th, but there also is word that some maybe August, September time. So, however, we have also heard that personal training is now allowed one-to-one outdoors as long as social distancing measures are taken. So, Mike, if I come to you first, what are your thoughts on all of that, really?
So basically, the lockdown for myself has been quite, I'd like to say relaxing and quite productive, really, at the same time. So when it was first announced, I was like, no, it's going to be like so boring. How am I going to cope? Because usually, like, you know, I can't sit for like 5 minutes to relax. You know, I always need to be doing something like all the time. So obviously, also you could say I've learned a little bit more about myself during this time, that just exercise on like a daily basis is like the most positive, like efficient way to reduce like me being like hyperactive or something like that. So therefore it releases me for like if I've got any stress, it boosts my mood, calms my mind. So you could say I've evaluated myself, I guess. I didn't hear anything about the gyms or the cafes. Actually, I didn't hear anything about the gyms. It was just like the cafes and the restaurants and stuff that I thought was opening first. So this is quite new to me as well, guys. I think you've just said some dates just in front then, Ed. So like I said, that's something we could talk about, because I think at the 4th of July or something, I think someone said that, but will that be every gym? Will that be these little gyms, or like, the big gyms and stuff? I'm not too sure. But I think it'll take ages like to find a solution for this or anything anyway. So obviously more people are going like home workouts now these days, but then everybody wants to get back into the gym and stuff. But yeah, I also definitely heard that that obviously the PTs can do like one-on-one session stuff, like you said, Ed, bearing in mind the social distancing rule and stuff. But can you imagine like a PT training like like a circuit class 20 or 30? So that would be a big no-no.
Yeah.
What about you, Shaq? What's your thoughts?
So for me, mine's basically the same as you. When it all started happening, I was I didn't know what to think at first. Really, I didn't know how it would be, but I've started to obviously adapt to it and stuff. So when it does try and finally get back to normal and stuff, I don't know how that's going to affect me. Obviously, it's going to affect people in different ways. It's like the gyms as well. Yeah, I've not heard about the gyms reopening. Obviously, that's new to me. Like you just stated it. I heard about cafeterias and stuff opening, because I know a few like fast food places and stuff have started opening their drive-throughs and stuff. But yeah, I'm getting a bit restless now. So it's good now they've adapted the exercise, so you can go out for as much exercise as you want a day. So it's good how they've adapted that. So that's it for me really on obviously how my life's playing out because of this. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I thought there was he set out a 4-phase sort of reopening of things, and I'm sure it was gyms and leisure centres were included in one of the later phases. So don't quote me on the dates. I think it will be one of the last things to open. I think it's going to take a while, but then you could argue that it's responsible. I think everyone's dying for the gyms to come back open, but is it responsible of the government to keep them closed? Yes. Am I as gutted as everyone else? Yeah. But I think, like you just mentioned, Shaq, that being able to exercise now outside as much as we want is good news. Personal training being allowed one-to-one, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just a case of waiting for that, really.
Well, yeah. So here's a funny one, guys. So I'm sure you guys have heard it, because I've definitely seen it on some social media or something. So apparently KFC's open, okay, the drive-throughs obviously, and McDonald's are only opening 40 restaurants. Obviously that it sounds a lot, it might not sound a lot, but obviously in the UK I don't know how many we've got, but I don't think 40 restaurants is a lot really. Not that we eat fast food or anything, guys.
Sounds like you've been keeping an eye on it, Mike. Is there something you're telling us?
What about you, Shaq?
What, me with the takeaways, mate?
No, I think it's a shame that places like that are being able to open and gyms aren't. But obviously, I think if they're just drive through, a gym can be quite crowded. Like we say, group exercise classes, you're all bundled together. They're hot, they're sweaty. Yeah. You're all touching bits of equipment. You're sweating on your face, so you're touching your face a lot. I think I saw a picture earlier on social media or something about gyms might open, but they have on the cardio machines, they had like a casing around it.
Really?
It was to kind of try and enhance the social distancing and stop, that crossover of people. But I don't know whether that's likely. I guess it depends how the situation kind of carries on, how it improves, and it's a big decision for a lot of these independent gyms because they rely on people paying the memberships, and if they're not there, they're not earning any money. It's a really tricky one, unless I think if you have like a texting system or a calendar where you can book in on a day, so the gym's not going to be overcrowded. You give everyone an equal chance to book in a day at the gym. I don't know, maybe it's just a way of reducing the amount of people at one time.
No, I think I'm going to snatch that back off you though, Ed, because I think it was a couple of podcasts ago when I said I had my own theory about it. I think it said something on the same lines you've just said then, and I think I said like an application on people's phone just to count how many's in the building and stuff.
Yeah, you did say that actually. Yeah, it was just a case of using your mask and gloves It was tricky. I mean, whether there's someone or, everyone has their own responsibility to wipe down the machines after they use them. And of course, obviously, you go to the gym at your own risk. There's only so, you can social distance, but you're relying on someone to have cleaned up after themselves and whatnot. It's a really tricky one.
I think it will put a lot of people to test because, obviously, there's say like, guy or woman, you've got like, you've got a family at home. You've got to ask yourself, do I really want to go to the gym, potentially put my family at risk kind of thing? Or, should I just carry on with my home workouts?
Exactly.
So, yeah, you could say, how much you could actually, I think people will be asking themselves this year, like how much they actually love the gym.
Yeah, I think at the minute as well, not many I don't know of any gyms actually charging memberships. They've all put them on pause, so people aren't paying for it. It shouldn't be your priority to be rushing back when, like Mike just said, you've obviously got bigger priorities of staying safe and keeping your loved ones safe as well. So keep up with them home workouts. Keep an eye on our social media page for Shaq and Mike posting new ones for you to try out, different variations, different equipment being used, no equipment. Keep challenging yourself, keep pushing yourself. There's loads of different ways you can do that. Like we said, now you can exercise outside as much as you want. We're going to start doing some different cardio workouts, some running, walking, jogging, maybe some cycling ones. So we're going to keep it fresh, and so keep an eye out, because if you're stuck for ideas, we're always here to give you some new ones. Right, should we go on to topic number 2 then?
Yeah, just a quick one. Guys, make sure you look out for them homemade protein shakes. They'll be making an appearance soon on the social media.
Oh, yeah. I caught the first one, Mark. That was really nice, actually. It looked really nice.
I'll just quickly just say a little bit about it. So basically, obviously, hoping everyone's got the blenders and stuff at home, but I'm pretty sure everyone has a blender these days. Most important thing about those protein shakes don't contain no protein powder. You just get all the protein naturally occurring from the whole foods inside. I think they all contain over 20 grams of protein as well. So, yeah, have a look out for them, guys.
Yeah, look really tasty, that did, Mike. Right then, topic number 2, which is setting yourself goals. Something we've all used, I think, in the past. I think a lot of businesses use it as much as sports teams, personal trainers, using this for clients, which is SMART goals. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely or time-based. Okay, so we're going to go into a bit of detail about each one, what might be involved in each one, and how to basically set yourself goals. So a lot of the time, goal setting is key for yourself to try and keep yourself pushed, challenged, and on track with where you want to be heading. So, Shaq, do you want to talk about the first couple?
So a specific goal is something that's going to be something specific to you, something that you're going to be aiming to complete. So, for instance, if it was to lose 11 pounds, then you would attach that to like your measurable, where you're going to be able to like, for instance, measure your progress. So it could be something as easy as like at the end of each week, you pull out the scales and you weigh yourself. Obviously, your best time to do this would be in the morning when you've not had anything to eat or drink.
Cool. So they're the first 2. Specific, meaning it's got to be direct for you, measurable. So that can be some sort of weight, like Shaq just mentioned, that you can keep track of. Mike, do you want to go into the next 2?
Yeah, so I'd like to talk to you about like achievable. So achievable could be, so say like if your goal needs to be realistic and attainable to be successful. So in other words, it should stretch your abilities but still remain possible. When you set an achievable goal, you may be able to identify previously overlooked opportunities or like resource that could like bring you closer to it. But then you could also say, so if that's like more achievable, so then I guess attainable would be, so identifying what goals are like the most important, and obviously you'll begin to figure out the ways you can make them come true, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then so realistic. That this is your next one, guys. So realistic. So this step is about ensuring that your goal matters to you, that it's also aligns with other relevant goals. So we all say, for instance, we all need support and assistance in achieving goals, but it's important to retain control over them. So you've got to ask yourself, does this seem worthwhile? Is it the right time? Do you get? So this is what I'm saying. So basically making sure you could say is it the right time? Is it the right time of the year? You know, is it winter time? You know, you could have loads of factors that could go into this.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good point. I think with the achievable, there's no point setting yourself a goal that, I don't know, in a month's time you want to be playing in the Premiership and you're playing on a Sunday morning. You know, it's not achievable. Yeah. So there's no point setting that goal, and that links in with the second point Mike just mentioned, that it's not relevant. Yeah. You know, so they're both really important. I think the realistic part of the SMART goal is that, you know, it's part of being honest with yourself and making sure that you're capable of achieving whatever you're setting. You know, there's no point, because you're just going to demotivate yourself if you're setting a goal way out of your league. But then at the same time, it's important to set one that's going to push you enough to keep challenging you. There's no point setting a goal that's way too easy. So yeah.
So do you know, like Mike says, obviously for attainable,
yeah,
obviously the realistic one, obviously how it adapts with, it's got to adapt, will basically adapt with your specific goal. So you could have something like I said, if someone wants to lose 11 pounds, they could adapt it by adapting their diet plan and exercise routines.
Yeah, so that's part of how they're going to achieve it. I agree. Yeah. And then the last one, which is time-based or timely, simply just, you know, you've got to put a deadline on that goal. So some goals, you know, you've got your short-term, medium, long-term. But like Shaq just mentioned, if you wanted to lose 11 pounds, it's the last point is just putting a time on it. So I want to lose 11 pounds in 4 weeks, and that's what you've got there. So, you know, as long as you're hitting really specific, measurable and time-based, they're the points that you're really going to include within your goal. The attainable, achievable, or the realistic points are what you've got to focus on around that goal, if that makes sense. So if I'm saying, like Shaq just mentioned, we want to lose 11 pounds in 4 weeks, it's specific because we're going to hit the gym and we focused on that 11 pounds, it's measurable. And then the time base, which is 4 weeks, has put a time on it, a deadline on it. Is it? And then once I've written it down, I've got to look at, is it attainable? Is it achievable? And is it realistic? So if all of them hit, that's my goal.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to your time. So obviously, as part of the SMART goal, guys, time, obviously, you've got to also think about, so like, it helps to like prevent like everyday tasks from like taking priority over your longer term goals. You know, for example, like what I can do in 6 weeks or something from now, or like, so what are you gonna ask yourself? Like, yeah, like you said, what can I do on this day, but I can't do on that day? When can I start this? Those kind of things. Time, yeah. I'd say time is the biggest. It's the biggest one, isn't it? You could say.
Yeah, it'll definitely keep you motivated and you pushing towards that certain date that you've set.
Yeah,
it's an important one as well, because you'll learn as you go on. You learn from experience about how to set goals and how much time to give yourself. You know, you start to learn about yourself, how much how much time you're willing to put into it, how much time it takes your body to adapt to hit a certain goal, and you learn from it as you go on. You know, it's a real skill to be able to set yourself a good goal that hits all of them things, that keeps you motivated, keeps you challenged, but doesn't, you know, that's achievable. Okay, so we just want to try and list a couple of different examples, so it just gives you a bit of a clearer picture about how to set a goal, what to include. So they're not the most complicated of things. You know, it's, again, just listen to the points that we mentioned before and just make sure you're ticking each one of them off. So an example could be, you know, if you're training cardio and you've got a 10K coming up, or you want to run 10K, it can be something as simple as, I want to drop my 10K time from 1 hour to 55 minutes in the next month. And you apply all the training relevant to that to help achieve that. So you've ticked the specific, you've ticked the measurable, you've ticked the time base. Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Well, that's down to you to understand, to know that. So if you're at the minute running an hour, you've got to know how much you're pushing yourself to get it down to that 55 minutes. Another example could be, I want to try and do 2 more kick-ups in a week's time. So it's specific because you like football, you play football, you do kick-ups. It's measurable because you want to do 2 more. So say if you were on 8 at the minute, you want to try and get to 10. And in a week's time, you've added that time base because you've put a deadline to it. And you've said, right, I've got a week to achieve this. Is it achievable? Is it realistic? I mean, if you're on 8 kick-ups at the minute, 2 more should be. You know, if you're just doing 1 and you want to get to 10, to add another 9 more in a week is probably a bit unrealistic, okay? So you've just got to think around your own skill base, the time you're having to apply it, the time you're able to train to achieve that goal. You know, there's quite a few things to think about, but you can always make it as simple or as complicated as you want. Just focus on.
So I've got a quick example, Ed.
Oh, go on then, Mike.
So this could just be like gym-based guys. You know, it doesn't have to be lose weight. So this is, for instance, what if you have a specific goal in the gym? Oh, you know, I want to lift a little bit heavier today or in the next month or so. So, quick example. I bench this at the minute, but I want to bench. I don't know. I want to bench 150 or something. Or well, actually, not. That's too big. So say I currently bench 90 kilo. I want to bench 100 kilo. So is it specific? Is the goal important? This and that kind of thing. Is it measurable? Yes, it is, because you know, you can do it by adding weight off progressively every time. The goal, is it achievable? Is it realistic? Yes, it is, because you know, you can always up your training sessions. You know, you can train back to back and things like that. Realistic, is it realistic? Is it easy to do? You know, it's not something really ridiculous like jumping from 90 kilo on the bench to like 150 in 1 month, because that's pretty impossible, guys, believe me. And then time based, like you said, Ed, every goal needs a target date, so you have a deadline to focus on something you look forward to. So give it a time. So like I said to you guys, in a month's time, in 2 months' time. Most importantly, guys, if whatever goal you set, it doesn't have to be in the gym or fitness, any goals you set, okay? Just go by these: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time frame.
That's a good point, actually, Mike. It doesn't have to be fitness based at all. It can be, I want to eat 1 more bit of fruit or veg every day, starting tomorrow. You know, yeah, I want to be able to make one of Mike's smoothies at least once a week. You know, it's specific, measurable, because you're going to copy all the ingredients. You know, time based, you put a time on it. Is it realistic? You know, if you don't have a blender, you know, it's not attainable, because you know, there's certain bits of equipment you need for that. So they're just the things to take into consideration. Right then, so the next topic is, what age is safe to lift or start lifting weights, or should kids, what age should kids start lifting weights? So over to you guys.
So I used to think, before I started reading into it, I used to think it was the age you could start lifting weights was around 15 to 16, but it's actually around puberty, or 13 to 14. And obviously, like I say, I've been doing a bit of reading about it as well. Obviously, at that age, most 13 to 14-year-olds haven't got the strength and the power. So a good training method they could use, as we spoke about previously in our last podcast, is strength training, as obviously that's going to make their muscles stronger, should I say, and build them strength.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good point. I think I did the similar things, actually. I've been reading up a bit about it, and it's quite interesting what I have found out, because originally there was a few kind of, you know, stunts your growth, you know, shouldn't lift at a certain age, definitely. And I would I've read mixed things, to be honest, but one thing I have read is that, as part of growing, you've got to be able to have, muscular strength to be able to run, jump, pick yourself up when you fall over, things like that. So one thing that I would definitely recommend is when we say about strength training, it's not necessarily in a gym and stuff like that. It's, natural movements like squatting.
Well, I thought the same as Shaq. Believe it or not, when I first started training, and used to look back on supplements and stuff, and used to say, "Oh yeah, you're not allowed to be drinking like this protein shake, unless you're 18 years old or something." So I always wondered, how old you have to be to start training, because you're still growing and this and that, but it's actually I actually read the same thing as well. It's around that puberty time, so it's anywhere from like the age of 12 to about 14. So you two are both right. The strength training for kids, of course you can. If it's done properly, like it offers like many benefits to like young athletes, or like strength training is a good idea for kids who like simply want to look good and feel better. So in fact, like this form of exercise might put your child on like a lifetime path for better health and fitness, such as like the Olympics, or like a fitness orientated career. But then, like you said, Ed, don't confuse the strength training with like weightlifting or bodybuilding or powerlifting. Trying to build like muscles and stuff can put like too much strain on like young muscles, tendons, and like areas of cartilage that like have not yet like turned like to bone and stuff. So I think they're called like, is it like growth plates or something?
Yeah.
And, when you haven't formed properly.
Yeah, then obviously, so, especially like when proper technique is sacrificed in favour of like lifting large amounts of weight. So remember, guys, what you could say to yourself is, I may not be there today, but I won't stop until I am. Form always before weight, guys.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
agree with it.
I know we touched on it in last week's podcast about how important technique is before anything, correct form. And I think, it gets like what we've said previously, the strength training, it's really important it doesn't get confused with the weight training, powerlifting, because essentially when we're on our feet, we're working our leg muscles. You're always working muscles when you're on the move. And it's really important that kids do that. Kids want to be active, they want to be moving, developing their muscles, and not sat down all day, like probably most adults sat behind a computer. We are designed to move and keep moving. I think some points that I just wanted to mention was about the form and technique. So master the basics first. So simple exercises, you squat, push-ups, you row. So a lot of back development muscles to keep good posture. I know we mentioned about compound and isolation movements. So focus on the compound movements. So ones that, are going to work your core in and use multiple different muscle groups. Staying away from machines when you're at a younger age, because it's quite a, what's the word, unnatural movement. Watch the weights. So you don't want poor form, you don't want to lift weights too heavy for yourself. That's where injuries occur. And to basically do a variety of different exercises. I know, again, repeating ourselves, but we mentioned it in previous podcasts about having a well-balanced all-round body. So you don't want too much, frontal movement, and you end up hunchback and overdeveloped muscles.
Unless you do legs, guys. You can't overtrain your legs. But your foundation, they're your tree trunks, you could call them. Make sure you get nice strong legs twice a week. That's Michael John's.
There you go. Twice a week legs, Mike. Right then, we'll go on to the next topic, which is, I know one Mike and Shaq have definitely been looking forward to talk about. Bit of a talk sport time. So we're going to talk about the Football League, different professional sports, what we think, and again, get involved in the comment section. We want to know what you guys think in terms of the return to the Premier League or even Championship that haven't yet been finalised, what's happening. Different talks around the world. We know the German league is starting back soon. Go for it, Mike. I know you've really looking forward to this one and giving your opinion on it. So,
well, I mean, there's a few things to talk about. We can talk about the UFC, what we had last weekend, transfer windows, or when's it fit and suitable for players to return to training. So I actually think it was the other day. Actually, I read something, and well, basically, Premier League captains such as Jordan Henderson, Harry Maguire, Cesar Azpilicueta, Troy Deeney, all them. They held like a meeting with I think it was like Premier League experts to talk through like the protocols which would be in place to make sure training's safe as possible. And yeah. I think they're meant to be getting tested up to twice a day and up to 48 hours before training's commencing. Any of you guys heard anything like that?
Yeah, I think about the training, I think a final decision or something's getting made later next week.
Yeah.
As far as it goes to training. But obviously, like you say about that, the German league, the Bundesliga 2, they started resuming training. I think was it about 2 or 3 weeks ago? They started.
Yeah, something like that, mate, yeah.
But then obviously, what I've been waiting for, and I bet you've been waiting for, is football to return. Obviously, the German league returns this week. I mean, who are you supporting in that? Who's your team?
I think, Shaq, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to say, start naming all these teams in Germany. I think I know about 5, and 2 of them or 3 of them I've only heard. But I mean, we've all heard of Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund and stuff, and we know who Jordan Sancho is and things like that. But you say that starts this weekend, Shaq?
This Saturday, mate. Is it the 16th Saturday? Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is, mate. 16th. What about you?
Mate?
I think I was watching something on social media, and I think it might have been the Norwich manager, and he was on about, it's got to be settled on the pitch, and you can't just settle it in a boardroom, and you can't work it out on paper and stuff. And I'm thinking, you know what, it's because you're bottom of the league. That's why.
Yeah.
But he's right in a way though, Ed, because I think it's League One, the French league.
No, I don't think he's right because because it's not like a marathon where you might save a bit of your energy to the end. No football team goes out on a Saturday and wants to lose and thinks, you know what, we're going to lose all our games at the first half of the season and we're going to have a sprint finish. We're going to save our energy for a second. No, you've lost your games. You're in that position because you've not been good enough. You can't then turn around and say, you know what, the games we haven't played, how can you just assume we're going to lose it? Well, we're not assuming, but we're taking the league on what it is now. And so far, now, you're bottom. So if anyone were to deserve to go down, it's you.
Yeah.
You've lost 9 games.
I still don't think it's fair, though, because obviously there's so many times where this, obviously not with these circumstances that are happening now, but there's so many times where teams that have been at the bottom have just turned it around. Like the League One teams that was at the bottom now, obviously they've got an argument where they're saying, like you mentioned there, that they could win their last few remaining games. But it's correct what you said, obviously.
Yeah, I do get that.
They've not been winning games, so just because it's your last few doesn't mean you're going to win them.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to go on what the league is now. I accept that they could finish really strong and they could win every game. That's not the point, though. The point is that if you had to come to a decision now, and at the moment, which I think is ridiculous that they're on about starting it back up, but if you had to come to a decision that who's getting relegated, you've got to take it on the league as it is now.
What's that? Sorry, go on.
He started going on about, well, we've won our games in the FA Cup with beat Premier League teams, and even though he's in the Premier League, he's like, we'll beat top Premier League teams, and should we just be handed the FA Cup? I'm like, well, no, you shouldn't.
Who's that? Who said that?
The same Norwich manager or whoever. And it was like, I was like, well, no, because the FA Cup's totally different. And so it was just like a total irrelevant argument he was trying to make just because they're bottom.
Yeah, I think he's just being sour because he's, like you say, because the bottom, mate.
And sometimes, maybe his argument, he hasn't got an argument because you should have been good enough. You should have been better at the start of the league and won some games and you wouldn't be in that position. So to me,
it's like,
it's just not good enough. And the whole fact that they're going to be tested twice a week when essential workers still aren't getting tested is a bit of a disgrace, to be honest. But
it's like to me, obviously PSG have been handed their league, obviously, because they're miles ahead and stuff. So obviously, how many points is it Liverpool are ahead? Is it 20 something?
21.
So they're saying, so why not just do that then? Like, because they were thinking about obviously abandoning it, weren't they? So why wouldn't they just literally give Liverpool the title? Because City are a good team, but there's no way they're going to catch them with 21 points.
Yeah, well,
the way Liverpool are performing.
City's on 57 points, Liverpool on 82. so, like, yeah, it's. I mean, I know it might be disappointing for Liverpool to just be handed it and go, well, we never done it properly and stuff. But it's, in these sort of times, it's.
But they basically have won it properly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's quite ridiculous, really. But I think the indecisiveness is ridiculous as well. I mean, this is like a multi-billionaire industry, and the fact that they're going against advice and people's well-being and safety to try and finish the season. It just seems absolutely ridiculous in my eyes. As much as I'm a fan and I really want it to return, and it's something I'm looking forward to it returning, I just can't work out in my head how they're trying to get it up and running again.
Exactly. It's going to be very weird as well. Like if it comes on telly, like obviously no fans or nothing. Obviously it's for the best, but it's going to be very weird.
Yeah, they're on about having shorter halves, more subs.
Really?
All sorts of different things. I've seen in one country, I forgot what sport was it. They had cut out fans. People said and they stuck them in the stands.
What?
So
it's just crazy as well, because obviously they're all super athletes, but obviously everyone knows this that's played sport. Training and stuff at home, match fit is totally different from being fit and then playing a match of football. Totally different. So it'll be exciting to see how they perform as well, with like obviously being off for so long, even though obviously they're still training at home.
Yeah,
it will just be exciting to see how they perform in a match.
Yeah, I was thinking the same actually, Shaq. It's going to put a lot of people to test. What have they actually been training? Have they actually been training? Keeping up with it at home. And let's face it, we're human. A lot of us, I think it's definitely going to slow some of the players' performance down.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, guys. I'm just not sure if it's too relevant to talk about, but I seen it last night before I was going to bed. Did you hear about Dele Alli or anything?
Yeah.
No. Why?
Yeah, it's crazy. So just like, I think. Well, do you want to say, Ed?
No, go on.
Oh no! So Tottenham midfielder Dele Alli was like robbed at knife point. Like people broke into his house and stuff, and he was assaulted.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Crazy. I think it was Jan Vertonghen as well, like 2 months ago. But
bad in tough times, and these kind of.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
These don't help, do they? These news stories, but I just want to touch on the fact that obviously, I know that the Brighton manager or the striker, Glenn Murray, is spoken about his concerns, and they feel put under pressure. And obviously, teams like that, they don't have as much of a budget as your Cities, Uniteds, Liverpools, to kind of take the precautionary measures that might be needed to be in place. I just think it's unfair in these kind of lower teams and the pressure the Premier League are putting on them, because basically they're in the eye and in the news of everyone, aren't they? Because everyone wants it to return.
Did you guys watch the UFC last weekend?
If you don't mind me saying, just before you go into UFC, mate, did any of you guys see that they're going to add extra subs to the Premier League? Premier League, should I say?
I think I saw that they were on about it.
So what do you know? What do you know, Shaq?
Yeah, give us some insight.
No, I'm just saying. So obviously, all these teams, they've got a reserve team and stuff. So they shouldn't even be really allowed extra subs. They should just put a different. If they can't get that squad that's not fit, match fit, they should just put a different squad out.
Yeah, I don't know if it was something to do with the in terms of social distancing, or I don't know,
Oh,
being
okay.
allowed a certain amount of time on the pitch for
Ah,
whatever reasons. I'm not too sure.
okay, okay.
UFC.
Go on, Mike.
No, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not actually a massive UFC fan. I
You
watch.
sounded like it, mate.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I picked it up now, had to, guys. I better give you all loads of information.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, touching on what you said, I think it was one of you two, about crowds and stuff, like how it's going to change the atmosphere, at football stadiums. So then you kind of ask yourself, when you was watching the two UFC fighters and stuff, there was no crowd or anything. It was just the trainers. And at first it was a bit like, oh, God, what's this? It's, there's no atmosphere and stuff. But you got used to it. But then you could hear like every strike that was being thrown, and like the trainers. When you have I think is it 30, 20 seconds? The other, I can't even remember. See, I should know that, but this is it.
What?
But yeah, you could hear the trainers talking to the fighters. Do you know what I mean? Each side.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? I thought the same. It was a bit of a weird atmosphere when you were listening. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously it'll affect all the sport now. So this is going to be something we've got to get used to, like different aspects.
Sure. So obviously still on about UFC as well. Dana White, my friend was telling me also that he's got his own private eye and he's on about getting the UFC on there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he brought an island, so he's going to set up a whole sort of training camp and set up private fights on the island. Yeah, I think all these sports are having to adapt, and it's interesting what's going to happen with boxing as well. So I think they were on about like putting on hold. They were just putting British fighters on at the minute until flight. Obviously, they can't fly people over due to restrictions and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, let us know in the comment section what you think and your opinion, and or come online and have a chat with Mikey Shaq, and they can have a conversation with you about it.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Anything you need, anything fitness related, or if you just want a general conversation about sport or something.
Yes, guys. I hope you enjoyed this today, because I know I did.
Good. Yeah, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, take care, guys.